So I'm excited today to be joined by an incredible group of talented individuals from the Albany and Portland area in Oregon. And so first, I'd like to just give you a little bit of background. We've launched 2 Bold sessions in that area here recently, and both sessions sold out. And this group of just incredible leaders set some huge goals in partnership with the OP team leader, Market Center staff. And I thought it'd be helpful to really go a little bit deeper and find out, what's causing them to use Bold as a productivity funnel tool to such a high level. How is it impacting their Market Center? And just to get some feedback so that we can help folks as Bold is launching in August and October. So I'm just going to introduce Craig Reger first. And Craig, you're the OP of these 2 incredible Market Centers. And so tell us a little bit about your background.
Thanks, Pat. Good morning, and what an opportunity. We appreciate it. Pat, been in real estate 21 years, close to 8 years, 7.5, 8 years with Keller Williams, operating partner of 3 Market Centers, my wife of 4th, and then I help out another 33 Market Centers down in Northern California, Hawaii.
Awesome. Well, and Craig, you got a great track record of success, and when you do, opportunities open up. It's amazing. And so you've got 2 incredible team leaders here flanked with us. You've got Katie and Leslie. And so, Leslie, just a little bit of background on yourself.
I've been in the business since 2003, joined Keller Williams about 4.5 years ago, and became a team leader in this Market Center about 8 months ago. So
wow, fantastic.
Been enrolled 6 times.
6 times. We'll hold that thought for a second. We're going to talk about that. How many agents we'll look at those purple bracelets too. I love that.
Right.
How many agents do you have in your Market Center right now, Leslie?
We currently have 191 agents in our Market Center.
191. Okay. Remember that number, ladies and gentlemen, 191. We're going to come back to that. Katie?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Katie. I started in the industry about 5 years ago. I've now been with Keller Williams for 3 years almost, coming up.
Okay.
We started with 65 agents, and now we're at 216.
216. Fantastic. And how many times have you been to Bold?
5 times.
5 times. So 6 times, 5 times. And Craig, how many times for you?
I was looking at trophies this morning. I believe this is either my 11th or 12th.
Wow. So let's start there, guys and gals. Let's start there. Talk about why you feel so strongly about Bold in the support of it, and how you really use it as a tool. Let's just start right there. And I this is kind of free flow, so whoever wants to start.
I'll jump on that because I set the biggest goal I've ever had, and this year I want to bring in 150 agents. And I had a funk. I was right on target. I was hitting everything, and I had just a down 2 weeks. And I was sitting in one of my agent's offices, and all of a sudden I was like, I just need to pick me up. I need to start fresh. I need to get energized again. And all of a sudden I was like, Bold is on Thursday.
I love
and that
it.
just instantly, the whole room, we started talking about Bold and getting energized again. And that's that's what the tool is for me. It just kind of resets your mindset and gets you back into action again.
And so let's go back. Katie, you had 216 agents?
Yes.
And you set a goal of 60 or 61. Was it 61, right?
61, yeah.
61. So 61 agents out of 216 is well over, it's almost 30% of your Market Center. So that's a big goal. Tell me why you set such a big goal.
Well, because Leslie had 60 and I wanted to beat her. So I did 61.
One more time. A little competition sounds like there. One more time.
Honestly, that really is why I did 61. However, every year we base our goal and our focus for Bold attendance based off the multi-year trend report. So when I knew that, what our Market Center needs at the moment, that's how I get energized and what to focus for. So right now it's retention. We really want to make sure we grow our retention, and so we're using Bold as a tool for that. So I really wanted a strong number this year for this round to make sure that we keep our agents, because agents don't leave your Market Center while they're in Bold.
Well, that's so true. They don't leave when they're in productivity, when they're happy and they're making money. So Katie, go back and expand if you could 1 second. You said you use the multi-trends report as part of this process of Bold. Will you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so before it comes we do it twice a year. So before it comes, I just like to look over that and see what areas are we struggling in, what areas we need to focus on, and then that's how I recruit to Bold. if it's listings down, if it's retention, then it just becomes a conversation for my team and for myself to get agents to attend to that. So it's how I focus and get energized to recruit to it.
I love that. Actually, yeah, you just taught me something as a Bold coach that I can use in teaching other leadership around Bold, is to pull out that multi-trends report. That's a great aha. So Leslie, let's go to you. You set a goal of 60, which was one less than Katie. We haven't talked about that yet. 60, and you've got 100 and how many agents?
191 agents.
So that's that's almost 40%. And so tell me why you personally set such a big goal.
Bold was one of the very first things that I did when I came to Keller Williams, and it was a life-changing experience for me. And after the very first day at Bold, I actually changed my trajectory, my business plan, my goals, and started walking a leadership path. So I know the change I made in my own personal life.
Right.
So I look at it as an opportunity to affect other people's lives, whether it's their business or in their personal world. So it's really important for me to share that Bold experience.
So you said something, Leslie, which I really take to heart as a Bold coach, and I have a commitment to, is that if we don't transform your lives as leaders, then really team leaders look at Bold as something else to do, almost like a checkoff, where when we transform your lives, you look at it a whole different way. So is that what you're really saying?
Absolutely. And it's about me telling my story and sharing personal experiences, how through the multiple Bolds I've hit big goals and done things that I didn't think possible. And it's really changed my view of the world. And then relating that to their own personal businesses and how it can change our world as well.
So Craig, and I want you to share, when Leslie and Katie set these big goals, you also as an OP went all in on these guys and their market centers. So tell us about that as an OP.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll step back and say, absolutely, we're looking at the multi-year trends. We're looking at the new exercise and the growth initiative that John Davis has us doing, which I commonly refer to as the pink and green exercise. And it's, hey, how is your market center doing month to date and year to date? And in a lot of our markets right now, Pat, we're seeing listings taken as an opportunity. I don't know if it's a potential shift, or regardless, we're seeing listings taken year over year going in a direction that doesn't really correlate with the growth that we've had from an agent count. And so I look at something like that, or in Katie's point, potentially retention of cappers, and it's like, okay, well, let's go all in on Bold. And so thought process is just, right, OP's job is vision, capital, accountability. So number one is just really clear, like, guys, this will be the best Bold we've ever had. And what that means, we'll have the most people to it, we'll have leadership engaged, we'll be bringing our own staff as leadership, and we're going all in, and it's 2 months out, and that's the vision. And then really I do turn it over to you and the team leaders at that point, and we have that first phone call that the Bold coach leads, and I love it, because in neither one of them what I wanted the goal to be. And clearly, if we're in business with the right leaders, they're going to push us.
Absolutely.
And so 60 and 61, I got to sit back as a proud papa and be like, this is cool. I love my leaders. Now, next, Pat, is I'm sure that you've seen across the country as a Bold coach, and I've certainly seen in the regional role in Northern California, Hawaii, sometimes team leaders throw out big numbers.
Yes.
And they don't necessarily support it. So when we're on that first call, Pat, I just returned from Mastermind with Gary Keller, and I actually shared it on that call with you and the leaders in Oregon. And what Gary said is the purpose of a goal is the plan it creates.
Say that again slowly so people could write that down if they're watching.
Yeah, Gary Keller, about 2 months ago, the purpose of a goal is the plan it creates.
I love it. I love it. And so when these guys set these goals, they had a lot of purpose to them.
Well, what I did is I made sure they had a plan.
Right.
So I immediately sent an email to you, Katie, and Leslie, and I said, awesome goals, ladies, and by Wednesday at 5 o'clock, send Pat and I, what is your plan to hit that goal?
Yeah.
So we started with immediate accountability on day one of, all right, you set the goal. Gary Keller says the purpose of a goal is the plan it creates. Show me your plan and show it to Pat. And they immediately implemented that. And then finally, Pat, as I hope you witnessed, is I tried to stay engaged. I didn't say, okay, well, great, they've now got a goal, they now have a plan, let's hope it works out. And with all the different hats I wear, I was still on the majority of your bold week leadership calls. And there were daily check-ins towards the end with my team leaders. Hey, what are you doing? How can I support you? It wasn't good or bad. It's just, where are you at? What do you need? And at one point, I know you and I and Katie had a phone call about 3 weeks before Bold launch and said, we're not necessarily on track. Pat is the coach. What have you seen? Let's get collaborative. And lo and behold, of course, with or without that, Katie hit her goal. Yet I felt my responsibility as the OP was to be engaged through the process.
Well, and Craig, you said a couple of things which I really want to highlight. First of all, you were absolutely engaged, and I would put your involvement as an OP up there in Bolds I've been doing since 2009. And that's not to take anything away from anybody who I've experienced before. However, you were all in, and you were on the calls, and I think that is an important part of the teamwork, if you may, that comes together. And then, you were absolutely there to support and to also enable and hold folks accountable, because the goal is the goal. At the end of the day, if we set a goal, if we're not committed to the goal, then why did we set the goal in the beginning? And I think sometimes, and I want to be clear on this, you weren't driving it per se. You weren't fingers in the pot. You were stepping back for support, and yet I think that's really important from an OP's perspective. You also did something which I thought was I think it was brilliant. You actually put an incentive in place for the entire team to hit that goal, and I'd love to have somebody talk about that. Because some people would look at putting an incentive in place and go, oh, that costs money. And yet when you have 121 of your agents between, 2 market centers in Bold, the return on investment is staggering. So, tell me your thoughts around that, and anybody else who might want to add something.
I'll share the vision on it very quickly and then let the team leaders share, how they utilized it. Is that, well, Katie brought up retention earlier. Her cap is $17,500. Leslie's cap is $18,500. If we lose one agent in the next 90 days, that costs the market center close to $20,000 in revenue. So I'm looking at this saying, well, and by the way, it's not a scarcity mindset, but it's like, okay, well, if we get 60 people through Bold and 30 of them are cappers, as Katie shared, they're not leaving. Is that worth an investment for myself as OPS? And then, of course, I looked and said, well, if we get 60 people in the Bold and 30 are quarter and half cappers, just to make up a number, half of our goal, will Bold give them the skills? In our markets, it's about 11 closings to cap. And we know the average agent does 14 transactions in Bold. So pretty simple math. We get just one of 60 people to cap. Market center makes $20,000. So what I offered to our 3 market centers in Oregon was $15,000. So essentially $5,000 per market center on average. And I said, team leaders, this is yours. I said, you can go to Mexico. You can give it to your team. I said, this is what, and by the way, right, because in the past, Pat, and this got longer than I realized, but this is the beauty of 12 Bolds, is in the past to be like, now, Leslie, for every person you get signed up, you can give $50 to your DFI or agent services. Well, at the end of it, we'd have 25 people signed up. There was no accountability to the goal.
Right.
And so, guys, I'll offer you $5,000 and you get 0 unless you hit goal. Now, how you want to disperse the $5,000 to your team,
right,
that's percent up to you. But the bottom line, it's 0 or it's 5,000, hit the goal. And they said, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was amazing to watch all of your team be vested in that as well. And so, Craig, you said something which I thought was again pretty awesome. You lose somebody and it's $18,000 or $17,000 or $20,000, and yet it could be, if you lost them for 5 years, that's $100,000. So sometimes we look at it as 1 year loss, and yet it's beyond that. So, ladies, anything you would add to any of that before I shift gears on you? I want to talk about strategy. However, anything else you would add to this part of our conversation?
I think one of the things that we did with the incentive was we went to our leadership team itself and got them on board with that. So we actually ran in our market center between our leadership team, once we discussed our goals and our strategies, was we ran a weekly competition between our leadership staff. And every single week they got points for sign up for first step and points for sign up for full Bold, minimum number of points, and then the staff member with the most amount of points at the end of the week got a weekly bonus.
I love it.
Actually helped leverage them to do a lot of that heavy lifting and allowed me to focus on really the recruiting piece of Bold.
Love it. Katie, what would you add?
Well, without going too far ahead with the strategies. Honestly, that was the biggest gift because I've never seen my DFI, my MCA, my AMCA, my recruiting broker want money so bad. I mean, they were fighting, and not only that, they were fighting to attend. They wanted to see the results of everyone there. So it bled into our team as well. So really getting that incentive and what drives them, which I think honestly, Craig is really great at figuring out what motivates his team leaders, which obvious competition. Leslie, I will beat you. And then it's also competition between the agents and now the team, right? The team is really driven too. So finding out what drives them and then bringing that motivation to them. And Cash is great. It really got them on board.
Well, in particular, you're tying everybody together because when that agent leaves the market center, that impacts everybody. And now what you're doing is you're tying the entire team together. So guys and gals, let me shift gears on you a little bit. So my intention always, and I know every bold coach's intention is to make this process be more efficient, to have you work smarter versus harder as leadership. And in both of your bolds, they were sold out before break, and you know, in Portland, they were really sold out when we walked in the room for all intents and purposes. And yet sometimes bold struggle, and you know, bold coaches sometimes are perceived as pushing on people. And you know, we talked along the way about strategies, and if you were to share your 1, 2, or 3 top strategies that impacted getting full bold registrations, because that's really the focus, is full bold. What would you share that those strategies were?
For us, there was a couple of things. One, we started early. So right after that first call, we had you in our next team meeting, and we sat down with the staff. We put our game plan into action, and our first wave was to go after and get commitment from all ALC members and to hit our teams. And the question wasn't whether you're going or not, it's how many of your team members can we sign up for Full Bold today? So we really focused on that. And then getting as many in as we could. It certainly didn't hurt that you were our coach and we knew it would sell out. And that's really the message we had is sign up now, sign up early to ensure your spot in bold.
So you said something. Go ahead, Craig.
What's interesting, because my team is a mega agent team in the market center that Leslie's team leader of. And so I don't live in Oregon, and I'm traveling back to Oregon for some business. And one of the leaders on my team comes up to me a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, how many people from the team are we sending to Bold? And of course, in my mind, it's always all of them, and we have certain requirements and competitions. And I was like, grab me tomorrow. And she goes, no. Every single one of Leslie's staff members in here today with Bold full registration sheets. I was like, it's 3 weeks away. She goes, Craig, we are signing up today. How many people are we signing up? I need to get Leslie's staff out of my office. And you know, and my team member was almost a little bothered, and I'm just smiling because I know the effect it's going to have on my team, on the market center. So it was that type of dedication they put in place, Pat.
So I love that. And so, Leslie, one of the things you said that I wanted to, 2 things actually, is number one, you started early. And you know, many times we launch a bold 6 to 7 weeks out, and people go, I can do it next week. I can do it next week. And boy, that time goes really fast. And then you mentioned the bold team meeting call, also known as the Skype call, where the bold coach comes in and you do a bold meeting with one real strong focus of bold, and we're able to secure many full bold registrations during that meeting. And so those are real important things if you're a team leader and OP listening to this, that when you don't take advantage of that from the bold coach, that you miss an opportunity for the leverage, because then those full bold registrations create more momentum and more excitement in the market center. So thank you for sharing that, Leslie. Katie, what would you add as part of your top strategies?
Team, because getting their they each had to come up with a way to get full bold registration. So each person was in charge of their own marketing, their own campaign, and how they were going to do that. So they came up with bold docs. They did, and honestly, the panel was the number one. They got the most full registrations at that. Is the internet connecting out?
Yeah, it's good. You're going in and out a little bit. You're back now.
So the panel was amazing to get agents to share their experience and to open up their hearts. And each person, you know, spoke to a different person in the audience. The most from that. But honestly, it goes back to my team, and each person was in charge of getting their quota, basically, and they took that to heart, and they each had very different strategies that spoke to different people.
I love it. I love it. So let me just shift gears if I can, and kind of bring this to a close. If there was one thing that you could share with OPs, team leaders, market center leadership, productivity coaches, directors of first impressions, anybody at all that's going to watch this, what would you share? And maybe even one or two things that you'd share, because I have to tell you very transparently, I believe that your mindset around bold and your goals and your commitment to achieving goals and your teamwork, all of those things together are the reason that you're sitting with the numbers that you are. And so what would you say, though, to anybody else watching from your perspective that you think might help them, inspire them, or open up their mindset to looking at bold differently?
I'll go first. I would say, Pat, number one as a leader, experience bold. Not just once, not just twice. Every time it comes to your area, your market center, experience bold. And I think we've seen that. And even at times, I'm humble is that I felt it. It's like, well, I've gone 12 times and
right.
I have this going on. And it's speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Bold will continue to have such a massive impact on us personally. And not to mention our agents, our ALC, they're all watching us.
Right.
And when we're there and we're engaged and we're growing and we're failing in a room with the support of our bold coach, it's an incredible experience. And so that'd be my first is leadership experience bold with your agents from the start to the finish.
So in other words, let me just interrupt you there. So in other words, don't sign up for bold, register, and then not attend or leave early or set appointments. In other words, you're there as a student and you're all in. That's really what you're saying.
Yeah, you want to have a massive push for bold as leadership. Show them you're going to experience bold. And I believe these ladies, even though bold starts tomorrow, they've shown for 2 months, we are in this bold. You won't see us messing on ourselves. They're not saying it, but their behaviors are showing they're all in. And Absolutely. That's, I think, a big reason why they hit gold, which goes back to mindset. And number two, if you're an OP, is hold it accountable. Accountable is not a bad word. Ask Gary Keller about accountable. It's a pretty good word. And that doesn't mean, as you shared, my fingers as OP. In fact, how many people did I register for bold? 0. You guys hit over 120. I did 0 except for giving approval of some of my own team members and myself, of course. But I held the number accountable. I inspected it. And when they needed help, I was there, or I put them back in front of you. And I was aware constantly of where they were at. Right. And these are amazing leaders, and everybody needs some level of accountability.
Yeah. Well, and Craig, let's go back to what we've been taught in leadership, in over a number of years at Keller Williams. Market center is a opportunity that comes with a responsibility, and we bring them on to give them a career worth having. And if they're not productive and if their lives aren't in the places they need them to be, well, then we're really not fulfilling that. And so that's a huge responsibility that you have as an OP. So let's go to Katie. Katie, what would you say? What would you add to any final thoughts for somebody watching?
Bottom line, passion wins every time. So if you've been through bold, you have those experiences, you participate 100%, you can now, you're valid in their eyes, right? And like Craig just said, it's not necessarily everything we say, it's our energy, it's what we're doing, it's what we're talking about, it's our results. And so if you go through bold and you are 100% into it, you have no problem getting people on board with you, because passion will always win.
Well, and passion is the highest form of energy, and when leaders are passionate about it, kind of hard to not follow that passion. I'll tell you, it's kind of fun. Leslie, what would you add?
I think they hit it on the head. Bold is about growth, and it's about opportunity, and it's an opportunity for our agents, and both retention and the piece we didn't talk about was recruiting. And our goal for the first step was to have 15 recruits in the room. We had 17. Of those 17, 9 have already signed with our company. We have 5 more coming to full bold with us that have not yet signed, but we intend to sign by the end of bold. So for us, it was just one more opportunity to grow as a market center and grow our people.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time today. I really, truly do appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to getting on a plane this afternoon and coming out and seeing you in Portland on Wednesday and on Albany on Friday. So thanks so much, guys. I appreciate your time.